What is Maven? Maven is a build automation tool primarily used for Java projects. It provides a standardized and efficient way to manage dependencies, build processes, and project configurations. What is a POM file in Maven? POM stands for Project Object Model. It is an XML file that contains essential information about the project and its configuration, including dependencies, build settings, plugins, and other project-related details. How do you define a dependency in Maven? Dependencies are declared in the Dependencies section of the POM file. Each dependency is specified using the group ID, artifact ID, and version. Maven uses these details to download the required jar files automatically. What is a Maven repository? A Maven repository is a storage location for Maven artifacts like jar files. There are two types of repositories. Local repository resides on the developer's machine. Remote repository hosted on a server and shared across multiple developers. How do you execute a Maven build? To build a Maven project, navigate to the project's root directory containing the POM file and run mvn clean install. This command compiles the source code, runs tests, packages the project, and installs the final artifact into the local repository. What is the purpose of the Maven lifecycle? The Maven lifecycle defines a series of build phases and goals. Each build phase represents a specific stage in the build process. Goals are associated with each phase, and Maven executes them in a specific order when running a build. Explain the difference between compile time and runtime dependencies in Maven. Compile time dependencies are required for compiling the source code and are declared in the POM file. Runtime dependencies are needed only when the compiled code is executed. What is the purpose of a Maven plugin? Maven plugins extend the build process and provide additional functionality. They perform tasks such as compiling code, running tests, generating reports, and deploying artifacts. Plugins are configured in the POM file under the Plugins section. How do you create a Maven project from scratch? To create a new Maven project, use the Maven archetype plugin. Run the command mvn archetype generate. Select an appropriate archetype, such as Maven Archetype Quick Start. Maven will then generate the project structure and necessary files. What is the purpose of the mvn clean command? The mvn clean command removes build artifacts and temporary files generated during the build process. It cleans the project by deleting the target directory, allowing for a fresh build without remnants from previous builds. What are profiles in Maven? Profiles in Maven allow defining different build configurations for various environments like development, testing, or production. They customize the build process based on specific requirements and can be activated using conditions specified in the activation section of the POM file. How can tests be skipped during a Maven build? Tests can be skipped using the following command line options. -d skip tests, skips test execution but still compiles the test classes. -d maven.test.skip equals true, skips both test compilation and execution. What is the purpose of the Maven repository? The Maven repository is a central storage location for dependencies and plugins. It caches artifacts retrieved from remote repositories and makes them available for local builds. enabling efficient dependency resolution and artifact reusability across multiple projects. How can a transitive dependency be excluded in Maven? A transitive dependency can be excluded using the exclusions element within the dependency declaration in the POM file. This prevents unnecessary dependencies from being included in the final build. What is the purpose of the Maven Shade plugin? The Maven Shade plugin is used to create an Uber jar or fat jar, which bundles all dependencies into a single executable jar file. This ensures that all required classes and resources are included, making distribution and execution easier. What is the difference between a snapshot version and a release version in Maven? Snapshot version represents a development build that is subject to frequent changes. It includes a timestamp and is primarily used in continuous integration. Release version represents a stable, fixed version meant for production use. It does not change once published. How can custom Maven plugins be created? Custom Maven plugins can be built using the Mojo or Maven plain old Java object concept. By extending the abstract Mojo class and implementing the execute method, custom logic can be defined. The plugin is packaged as a jar file and configured in the POM under the Plugins section. What is the purpose of the mvn deploy command? The mvn deploy command uploads built artifacts to a remote repository. It is primarily used to publish release versions to a central repository or an artifact repository manager like Nexus or Artifactory. How can a custom local repository location be specified in Maven? A custom local repository location can be set in the settings.xml file by modifying the local repository element inside the settings section, specifying the desired directory path. What are Maven parent POMs and why are they useful? Maven parent POMs help establish a hierarchical structure by defining common configurations, dependencies, and build settings that child projects inherit. This simplifies project management, ensures consistency, and reduces redundant configurations across multiple projects. What is the Maven reactor? The Maven reactor is responsible for building multiple projects together in a single build. It determines the correct build order based on dependencies and ensures that all related projects are built in the proper sequence. This mechanism is useful for multi-module projects where dependencies must be resolved correctly during the build process. How can Maven profiles be activated based on properties? Maven profiles can be conditionally activated using the activation section in the POM file. Activation can be based on the existence of a property, its value, the presence of an environment variable, or the operating system. This allows dynamic configuration of builds based on different environments such as development, testing, or production. What is the purpose of the Maven Release plugin? The Maven Release plugin automates software releases by managing version updates, creating tags in version control systems, and deploying artifacts to repositories. It ensures a repeatable and standardized release process while maintaining consistency across multiple releases. How do Maven plugin executions work? Maven plugin executions allow specific plugin goals to be bound to particular phases of the build lifecycle. By configuring plugin executions in the POM file, developers can control which goals are executed and when, ensuring a customized and efficient build process. What are Maven archetypes and how are they used? Maven archetypes are templates for creating new projects with a predefined structure and dependencies. They simplify project initialization by generating standardized project skeletons. The Maven archetype generate command is commonly used to create projects using available archetypes. What is the purpose of the Maven Enforcer plugin? The Maven Enforcer plugin enforces rules to maintain project integrity. It helps ensure compliance with dependency versions, JDK versions, and other constraints. By defining rules, organizations can enforce best practices and prevent configuration inconsistencies. How can the order of plugin executions be controlled in Maven? Maven executes plugins in the order they appear in the POM file. However, execution order can be explicitly controlled using the executions element within the plugins section. The phase element specifies when a particular execution should occur within the build lifecycle. What are Maven multi-module projects? Maven multi-module projects consist of a parent POM and multiple child modules. Each module represents a separate project but is managed collectively under the parent POM. Multi-module projects improve dependency management, configuration sharing, and coordinated builds of related projects. What is the Maven BOM, Bill of Materials, and how is it used? The Maven BOM is a special type of POM used to centralize dependency version management. It ensures that related projects use consistent dependency versions. Other projects import the BOM in their dependency management section to inherit the predefined versions. How can Maven be configured to use a proxy for accessing remote repositories? Maven can be configured to use a proxy by modifying the settings.xml file. Inside the settings section, a proxies element is added with details such as the proxy host, port, and authentication settings. This configuration allows Maven to access remote repositories in restricted network environments.